corner of that small, dark room, Sholmes and I waited with bated breath. In time, there came from the ventilator a hiss and a soft, almost growl-like sound. Suddenly, Sholmes sprang into action, lashing furiously with his cane at a point in the darkness. "You see it, Wilson?" he yelled, his tense voice reverberating through the air. I raised my dark lantern's shutter, and the room slowly came into view. Sholmes was staring intently at one particular corner when he started whispering to me. The victim's most perplexing final words. The Speckled Band. I believe this is the terrible coil to which you referred, Wilson. In front of us was an enormous adder, its fangs bared as it threatened to strike. It truly was the most terrible Speckled Band I had ever seen.
So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this curious murder. Pray, do excuse me. The cabin door was bolted from the inside when the man was killed. No marks to suggest the bolt was tampered with in any way. So, this would appear to be a locked room mystery. In his final moments, the victim scrawled a message on the floor. Almost certainly with the ink from this upset bottle. A Russian word. So the victim was a Russian man then. And the letters are well formed, suggesting he was compos mentis at the time. This is a most extraordinary script. And evidently not penned by the same hand as this message. In fact, I deduce it was written by someone of a different nationality. This paper seal was placed just prior to the incident, by the victim himself, I would venture. Well, what have we here?
Who are you, and what do you think you're doing here?
No one must touch before maritime police come. We must wait!
Shh. That won't be necessary. You see, in less than 5 seconds from now, I will reveal the killer to you.
What? Don't be absurd. This is murder. And in cabin locked from inside.
Ah yes, the locked room. But that mystery is paper thin.
You don't mean the culprit is in there?
Who are you, and where have you come from?
I'm a great British consultant detective, the only one in the world. Sherlock Sholmes. I presume you must have heard of me.
My head is throbbing. What's going on? Something's not right here. There's trouble in the air. Wait, I can't move. What the? Why am I in handcuffs? So you wake up now, We had to drag you out of the wardrobe. I do not believe how you could not wake up. You are true cold-blooded man. You... you've found me, then? Da, we found you. And now you pay, criminal. How long are you hiding in that tiny wardrobe, Sorry. Now you have been found. It is time to admit your crimes. Unless you want to find out how cold the ocean is,
No. I'll tell you everything. There's only one thing I'd like to know from you. Isn't that... Oh. Why did you do it? Why did you take his life? Miss Suisato? Wait. What did you just say? Take his life? Where is he? Where's Kazuma?
Ha! You pretend you do not know? You are a wolf in the sheep's belt. You are the killer. Do not try to make excuses.
What? Kazuma-sama's body was discovered not long ago. Here, in this very cabin that was body shot from inside. His body.
Please, do not try to tell us you are doing this terrible thing in your sleep.
Kazuma's dead? But he can't be. And these handcuffs, surely you don't think I have to know. Why did you take Kazuma-sama's life? Answer me, please! No. No! Kazuma. It was just 2 short weeks ago.
Are you sure about this? Won't we get in trouble? Don't you find it fun being a stowaway? Besides, how else could you come to England with me to study? It was really something else when they brought your luggage in here earlier, though. The way that Russian crewman just tossed your traveling case onto the floor, I thought I was gonna die. Yes, I still can't quite believe that. I really didn't think you'd be able to fit inside my trunk. You must be even less of a man than you look. Hey, honestly, I thought I broke every bone in my body. Well, it's about 50 days until we dock in Great Britain. But if you confine yourself to my cabin here, I don't expect anyone will discover you. I hope not. I get the feeling those Russians wouldn't be very forgiving of a stowaway. They're a sturdy bunch, that's for sure. What I want to know is, why do we need to keep it a secret from the young lady? From our faithful judicial assistant Mikotoba, you mean? From your close friend, more to the point? Surely we could confide in her, couldn't we? I don't believe she'd give me away. No, but if she knew what we'd done, that would make her guilty by association. It's best that only you and I know about this. I suppose so. Anyway, it's about the time that the steward is supposed to come and clean the cabin. I know it's cramped, but you'd better get in there, I think. It won't be for long. And anyway, compared to hiding inside my traveling case, it will be a breeze. Yeah, but what if the steward decides to open the wardrobe for some reason? Then I'll be in for it. Stop worrying. I tell you what, why don't you write "keep out" or something on this piece of paper? What? Then I can stick it over the wardrobe doors once you're inside. I don't know. We've only been at sea for 15 days. How can this have happened?
We were supposed to be going on this adventure to England together.
We'll leave you at next port. Stay quiet until then. Don't make more trouble for yourself. Murderer!
No, I'm not a murderer.
You said before, you said you admit everything about your crimes.
No, that's not right. I mean, yes, I did stow away on the ship, but murdering my best friend?
No one else could have done it. Admit the truth.
Susato-san, please, tell me what happened. I need to know. Very well. But there is something I would like to ask of you too.
Those eyes. She looks like she's ready to destroy me. This nightmare is getting worse by the minute. I suppose all I can do is try to find out what really happened.
He really has been killed, hasn't he? This isn't just a bad dream? These handcuffs, they think I did it? They think I'm Kazuma's killer? When they found him, the cabin was locked from the inside.
What do you mean?
There's no access to the cabin via porthole window, and the bolt on the door can't be operated from outside. In other words, after the crime, the culprit couldn't have escaped these four walls. What? Or to put it another way, the culprit can only have been somebody inside this cabin. Or do you have some other explanation?
I'm sure I can come up with at least one. This is impossible.
How did he die then? What happened exactly? Are you still going to deny the charge, even despite the circumstances? Please, Susato-san, you have to tell me. The cause of death is still undetermined.
They don't even know how he died?
The ship's doctor is examining the body, but of course he has no post-mortem analysis experience. I don't suppose we shall learn more until an expert has been consulted at our next port of call.
So presumably that means there were no obvious external signs of injury then?
That's true, yes.
Huh. Can't anyone tell me what actually happened here in this cabin?
I don't understand it. Why would anyone want to kill Kazuma? Presumably that's something you know the answer to better than anyone. Please. Whatever you say. You were here in the cabin after all.
Well, yes, I was, but...
He would always wake before dawn and do his training first thing in the morning. I was waiting outside his cabin as I have every day so far on this voyage. But this morning he did not come. I could sense that he wouldn't.
Does that mean he was already dead when Susato-san arrived at his cabin door, I wonder?
I knocked, but there was no reply. Then I started to become worried, so I went to find a member of the crew. The crewman forced the cabin door open, and when we managed to get inside, there was Kazuma-sama collapsed on the floor.
And the white tape there now shows exactly where he was found, I suppose. I had no idea anything had happened. I must have been asleep in the wardrobe somehow.
I wish it wasn't the case, but That's just very hard to believe.
This is all very hard to believe for me too, trust me.
Now I have told you everything that I know. So it's my turn to ask you a question.
Yes, alright.
My head feels so heavy. It's still throbbing like anything.
Okay, fine.
Why are you even on board the ship, Naruhodo-san? You said something before about being stowaway, didn't you?
Oh, yes, I'm afraid that's true. It's 2 weeks since we left Japan now, and I've been shut up in this cabin the entire time.
I had no idea. But how could you have occupied Kazuma-sama's cabin for so long without him noticing?
No, that would have been impossible, obviously.
Yes, of course.
Kazuma invited me. He wanted us to go to England together.
He actually asked you? But why?
I'm afraid I don't really know myself.
I don't understand.
Kazuma, why do you want this? What's the real reason? Why go to such extreme lengths to smuggle me to England with you? It's an idea that's been on my mind ever since the end of that incredible trial. I think I told you then, didn't I, that you ought to become a lawyer yourself. Well, yes, you did say that, but I didn't think you were serious. I am always serious. You have a talent for it, I can assure you of that. But I've never really thought about becoming a lawyer. Well, that's something you can decide for yourself. London is at the spearhead of cultural development, the center of the world in many ways. There can't be any harm in seeing such an important place with your own eyes, can there?
Well, no, definitely not.
But on a personal level, if you were to become a lawyer, then...
Then what?
Nothing. Forget it.
Kazuma-sama is... he was always saying the same thing. That he wanted to change the Japanese legal system. Perhaps he thought that he could do that with you.
Yeah, maybe. But something's still bothering me a little. Well, look at his eyes, then. It was darker than I've ever seen it before.
Susato-san, I'm sorry that we kept it a secret from you. My stowing away on the ship, I mean. If I know Kazuma-sama, I expect he was trying to protect me, to avoid me becoming guilty by association.
That's exactly right, yes. Word perfect, in fact.
Huh. If you are not the culprit, then tell me. What happened last night here in this cabin?
Well, the thing is, I don't really remember. Kazuma brought me something to eat, just like he always did. And then I got myself into that wardrobe over there, just like I always did. After that, I...
Fell asleep?
Well, yeah.
So deeply that you didn't even stir when Kazuma-sama was killed?
Well, yeah. I know it sounds unbelievable, really, I do. But it's the truth. If only I'd woken up
then perhaps I wouldn't be in this predicament. And for some reason, my head's still throbbing like anything. Really? Is something wrong? Oh, no, it's, please, forget it. Susato-san, you have to believe me. I didn't do it. I really don't want to doubt you. But the trouble is, there is no one else who could possibly have done this. Kazuma, I don't understand. Why? Why did this have to happen? Arg, I can't take this. Don't try to go anywhere. You are the perpetrator of this crime. You can't leave. I can't allow that to happen. I'm sorry, but Kazuma was killed right under my nose here, and I didn't do anything to stop it. And now I'm supposed to just sit around, my hands tied, while whoever did this walks free? No, I can't allow that to happen. Well, what do you propose to do then? I'm gonna investigate. I'm going to find out exactly what happened here. I'm going to work out who took Kazuma's life, and how and why they did it. So I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to excuse me. Hey-ya! Oh! What the? That was a Susato takedown. A Susa what? What martial art form is that? I'm going to need you to prove it. Sorry? Prove it? Yes, your innocence. I need evidence. But how am I supposed to... Have you forgotten already? What you achieved just few weeks ago? You successfully defended yourself in a court of law. Ah, I see. She's expecting me to present some conclusive evidence. I have to get Susato-san to believe me. I'll show her some evidence right now that proves I'm not guilty of this awful crime.
Yes!
Tell me, when I was discovered in the wardrobe before, was this piece of paper stuck over the doors? Oh, yes, it was. I remember clearly. I thought so. Kazuma always put it in place whenever I went to sleep in there, just in case the cabin steward or another crew member decided to look inside. So naturally, he did the same last night as well. Ah! Yes, of course. That gentleman who discovered you peeled that sign from the wardrobe doors before he opened them. But if I were truly the culprit, I couldn't have climbed back inside the wardrobe and stuck this on the outside of the doors on my own. Yes, that's quite true. In other words, it's impossible that I killed Kazuma. Well, even if you are sprawled hopelessly on the floor, I can see why Kazuma-sama thought so highly of you. Thank you, Susato-san. Now, do you think perhaps you could help me up? Well, in the light of that evidence, I don't see any reason why I should stop you from investigating in here, at least. Thank you. So you finally believe me? I am sorry. No. What? I am not sure yet. I can't rule out the possibility that you used some sort of conjuring trick to put the sign back in position. What does she think I am, a magician? For now, I suggest you investigate as thoroughly as possible in here. I'll do the same. Alright, let's get to work, Susaru-san. Please don't misunderstand me. I still have my doubts. Oh. I shall be watching you to make sure you do nothing that might disturb the crime scene. I wouldn't want you using your conjuring tricks to destroy evidence, for example. Right. Well, anyway, I should make a start. I should make a start on investigating in here. Examine everything I can. Kazuma, I swear, I will avenge your death. Alright. Now we can move around and do stuff. What do you think about this? Susaru-san, about this. I am sorry, Naruhodo-san, but we don't have time to waste on anything else. We must find the clues. She looks serious. Really quite deadly serious. Okay. Susaru-san, about this. Okay. You drew the characters from this paper seal, didn't you, Naruhodo-san? They're such a bold, vivid strokes you made. You're looking at a man who came aboard inside a trunk. Those brush strokes needed to make a statement. If they'd found me in that wardrobe, those Russians would have hurled me into the freezing cold ocean. I am sure none of the crewmen would have done anything like that. Well, I'm not so sure. They would have forced you to wash dishes in the galley until you were on death's door, or something like that. Wash dishes until I was on death's door? That's a lot of dishes. Okay. These must be remnants of the glue you used to stick the paper seal on the wardrobe. That's right. It was pulverized rice. Pulverized rice? Yes, I pulverized some of the rice from my evening meal, even though it broke my heart. Broke your heart? What do you mean? Remember, I'm a stowaway on the ship. All I had to eat were Kazuma's leftovers. Even a couple of grains of rice could have meant the difference between life and death. Oh my, it must have been awful for you, Naruhodo-san. But I have some glue with me as it happens. You are welcome to use this evening. Oh, thank you very much. It's good to know. Would have been handy before, but that's alright. Oh, what do we have here? Perhaps I should see what this Russian crewman makes of the scene of the crime. Excuse me? What? I was wondering how it's going. The investigation, I mean? Grandmother told me Japanese people do not make jokes, but it's not true, I see. Sorry? The criminal asking investigator for information about his crime? Very funny. Oh, it wasn't supposed to be a joke. He doesn't appear to be laughing either. He is convinced you are guilty. And so are you. He might have useful information though. I have to keep trying. So, last night, did you notice anything out of the ordinary at all? Нет, of course not. Now back to corner of room and make sonnet. I say no more to you. Did I hit a nerve? Just for a minute there, he seemed a little flustered. Interesting. Oh dear, that won't do. Oh, what's the matter, Susaru-san? Whenever I am examining things, I always find myself so focused, I forget to look around properly. Ah, yes, that's not good. I don't suppose you're as foolish as me in that regard, are you, Naruhodo-san? I am sure you are careful to look all around using the D-pad, aren't you? Now, let's investigate all the corners of this cabin. Yes, let's do that. I suppose my field of vision has been rather small until now. Alright, oh, we got a nice little check mark. That's good. Where do we start? Let's start with this. There's nothing on this table at all. The plate and cutlery all over the floor for some reason. Yeah, it's strange. Last night when I went to sleep, I'm sure everything was still. No, wait a minute. What is it? That's funny. I can't seem to remember anything about what happened after dinner at all. So then perhaps you are responsible for what happened to Kazama-sama? No. You know, semantics. Sige, the Japanese word for justice. The brush strokes are straight and true, just like Kazuma. Well, not so sure about that. Yes, his calligraphy always was a reflection of his heart. Yet can you really look at those characters without feeling shame, knowing who drew them so thoughtfully? Of course I can. I mean, I'm innocent, so why shouldn't I be able to? Even though you stowed away on this ship? Now you're gonna bring that up, are you? I can't win. It wasn't my idea, man. That's my dinner from last night. A roast chicken. It was really tasty. Yes, it was very delicious, wasn't it? But, did you eat it on the floor here? I'm not a dog, Susaru-san. I ate at the table, of course. Which begs the question of when and how the plate ended up on the floor. But Kazama-sama didn't like chicken at all, did he? No, that's right. So he didn't touch it. Which meant all more for me. Oh no! Does that mean poor Kazama-sama spent his last night on this earth with an empty belly? It's just too horrible. Now I suddenly have a guilty conscience and an achy stomach. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. What's with the knife, guys? It's just the knife for the chicken, I guess? Sure. Chicken knife. That's Kazama-sama's precious sword. He never went anywhere without it. Yeah, he was always saying that a Japanese man's katanas is souls. I believe he had to work very hard to convince the government to allow him to bring it on this trip. I suppose that just shows how important it was to him. And now he's gone. But I'm not ready to let his spirit go just yet. When I went for help and the crewman forced the door open, this bolt has been firmly closed. It's quite a small bolt and not particularly sturdy, and it just slides across to secure the door shut. Still, with the door bolted, there would be no way to get in or out of the cabin, that's for sure. It's no wonder everyone suspects me. When she glares at me like that, I feel tense all up and down my spine. I remember reading once in a detective novel, the culprit used a needle and thread to draw a bolt across from outside the room in a situation like this. Yes, that's a clever trick, isn't it? I am an avid reader of detective stories myself. But the door of this cabin and its frame are made of metal, and they seal together perfectly. There would be no possibility of using that needle and thread trick here, I'm afraid. When she glares at me like that, I feel pins and needles all up and down my spine. Oh dear. What are we examining here? The floor? This thing? What's this? These are the rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Burya. It's essentially a list of requests from the captain to all passengers on board. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. What? Why are you staring at me? Oh, sorry, I was just thinking. Are you more of a dangerous object or a pet? I can't decide. Well, one thing's for sure. Either way, I wasn't supposed to be in here. The books have fallen over on the shelf. Look, they've all toppled the same way. And what's this? A statue of some god of the sea? Although he's fallen over as well. Yeah, it's almost as if the whole shelf has been ransacked and everything mown down at once. I wonder if perhaps it was Kazuma-sama doing his morning sword training, do you think? I seriously doubt it. Then perhaps it was you, Naruhodo-san, in a fit of rage? I wouldn't have bothered leaving the wardrobe just to mess up a few books and a statue. Could the way these things have been thrown about have anything to do with the case, I wonder? Well, I'll just set everything straight again. I don't like to see a mess. There we go. I was hoping that a secret will be revealed, but nope. There we go. Okay. What do you think this is? It looks like a broken piece of glassware. Whatever the thing was, it appears to have broken clean in two. The glass is such a beautiful color. It looks like a cute little Nitsuke fastener from a kimono outfit. Not sure that sounds like Kazuma. He wouldn't have secretly carried a cute little trinket like this around with him, would he? Well, I don't know what to tell you. And the mark beside it, what is it, I wonder? It has a sort of brick-like hue. Yes, you're right. It's the color of brick, isn't it? Even though I don't see anything of the same color anywhere else in the cabin. Was something here and was dragged away? Did Kazuma write that before he died? It looks like it's written in ink. He must have knocked the ink pot from the desk when he collapsed on the floor. I suppose he wrote this message by dipping his finger in the spillage. Poor Kazuma-sama. No doubt he was in terrible pain. It's almost unbearable to imagine. I suppose he was trying to leave some kind of clue in his final moments? Was he? I'm sorry, partner, but I can't read your writing. I don't think that's a Japanese, Naruhodo-san. What? Then what language is this? It pains me to admit it, but I don't know. It's not a foreign script I'm familiar with. What does it mean, I wonder? Huh. That's a very large traveling case, isn't it? Yes, it carries a lot of memories for me. Memories? What do you mean? Well, that's actually how I stowed away on this vessel. I was brought on board inside that case. Ah, yes, I see it says this way up in Japanese. Which in hindsight I should have realized the foreign crewman wouldn't be able to read. I was turned over and over and over, and then I was tossed on the floor in here. Oh dear, being a stowaway isn't as romantic as it sounds. Well, it was less painful than a Susato takedown. I can tell you that much. This is where dear Kazuma-sama would have sat whenever he was writing. London Diary. Poor Kazuma. He didn't even make it to his destination. It looks as though the last entry is incomplete. Which means what? He was in the middle of writing it when the incident happened? Let's see what it says. It could be a valuable clue. Hiya! Oh, that's out of the question. What? Kazuma-sama may have departed this world, but you must not read his private thoughts. But what if it's something important? Something relevant to the case? Alright, I won't read it. Jeez. Poor Kazuma-sama. I don't like prying into people's personal matters either. But in this case, isn't the need for clues more important? Exactly. What else do we have here? Oh, I think that's some kind of opening for a ventilator. A hole through which fresh air can circulate into the cabin. Isn't that a little odd? What do you mean? Well, this ventilator, if that's what it is, looks like it must connect to the next door cabin. Yes, it would appear so. You are right. But if its purpose is to allow fresh air into the room, surely it should be connected to the outside. That's true. Perhaps it's so that rain and spray don't find their way in when the seas are rough, or something like that. I suppose. Maybe that's it. What the? Who's that? He wasn't there a minute ago. As far as I can tell, it looks like he might be European. Ugh. Oh, how did he... You've noticed the man too, have you? I have no idea who he is or how he got in here, but he looks suspicious and tall. Suspiciously tall. Naruhodo-san, don't tell me. Do you really not know who that is? Well, no. I don't have any foreign friends or acquaintances at all. He doesn't look like a member of the crew. There's something very unusual about him. And is he investigating Kazuma's desk? Or is he playing on it? I just can't tell. Well, in that case, we simply must talk with him. Am I just imagining it, or does Susato-san look almost uncontrollably excited? By the way, I expect that you have noticed already, but just in case, if you press A on people when they are in the crosshairs, you can converse with them. Alright then, I'll get that suspiciously tall gentleman in my sights and see what he has to say for himself. Oh, please do. I would love to, but I'm not done investigating. This is, yes, it's a bell code contraption, I think. What do you mean, contraption? I read about it in a book I was studying that talked about it life in Great Britain. Large households often have bell codes like this, which you can pull to ring a bell to summon servants. Really, that sounds almost magical. Shall we give it a little try? Yes, in the interest of cultural research, obviously. Oh. I suppose nobody comes for lowly Japanese people. No, I'm sure it's just that everyone is busy, that's all. I mean, there's been a murder after all, so can't say I blame them. It's some 2 weeks ago since we set sail from Japan. Have you really been living in that wardrobe the entire time, Naruhodo-san? I think living isn't quite the right description. Oh, no, I suppose not. Although it must have been rather exciting making this voyage in your own secret hideout. The trouble was, I never knew when a member of the crew might come in. So yes, I did basically have to live in the wardrobe. And last night was no exception. But because of that, you had no idea what was happening out here in the cabin. No, sadly not. Alright, let's go talk to this mysterious tall European guy. Excuse me. Excuse me, do you have a moment? Shh! This is a critical point in my investigation. Maybe I should leave him alone. He seems a little unfriendly. Yes, perhaps that would be for the best. Greetings! I hope I haven't kept you long. What exactly were you doing on Kazuma's desk just now? Ah, I see. Fascinating. Sorry. What do you see? It feels like he's looking right through me. Oh, yes. Everything is clear now. The train of reasoning has run its course. My deductions have been crystallized. You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive. Just recently returned, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry? What? And now, whilst adventuring toward foreign climes, you'll find yourself in a most troubling predicament. Oh, well, that's true at least. But how? How the deuce did I know that, perhaps? It was really a most elementary deduction, hardly worth explaining. Have you perhaps managed to deduce anything else? But of course, a great many things. There is no mystery, my dear madam. For example, you have fled your native land of Russia, being, as you are, a merciless revolutionary.
You leave 16 victims of assassination in your wake, and now travel to England to blow up the Crystal Tower. And when the Berrybond occupant of this very cabin discovered your identity, you ended his life too. Yes, I believe that summarizes the facts beautifully. No need to hide the truth now. Nothing deceives these eyes. Just to be clear, you are talking about me, are you? Certainly I am. Do you see another in this cabin who fits the bill? A Russian assassin with 16 victims to his name? I don't even see one person who fits the bill. So it's true. It was you who did this to Kazuma-sama. What? And you are plotting a revolution too? It's shameful behavior, Naruhodo-san. Absolutely wicked. No, listen, there's no way Hiya! Now explain yourself. Tell me everything. This is ridiculous. How could you do it? For pity's sake, open your eyes. I'm not a Russian revolutionary, obviously. Oh, forgive me. And as for you, what kind of deduction was that? You were just saying the first thing that came into your head. Ah, but was I not right? Whilst venturing toward foreign climes, you do find yourself in a most troubling predicament, do you not? Well, yes, maybe. Ha! There you have it, you see. What do you make of that? Well, to be honest, this ship is en route to England, and I'm in handcuffs at the scene of a murder. So, I'm not really sure you could call it deduction. It's more plain observation. Indeed, an observation, my dear boy, is the basis of all deduction. My method is founded upon the observation of trifles. You see, I announce my findings with a brassy certitude. And more often than not, I am right. Huh. I don't think you introduced yourself. Ah, my apologies. How remiss of me. I am none other than the great detective of the century, known to men and women the world over. The inimitable Sherlock Holmes. So, it's really you? The actual Sherlock Holmes? The very same. The inimitable, actual Sherlock Holmes. Do you know this man, Suzaru-san? The most famous detective in the world? Naruhodo-san, of course I do. There is nobody who hasn't heard of him. What planet have I been living on, then? We must ask him what he has deduced. He will have worked out the entire case already, I am sure. Really? Why do I feel uneasy about this? Alright, Sholmes. Let's start from the beginning. So, you're a great detective, are you? Sorry, what was your name again? Indeed, I am none other than the one and only Sherlock Holmes. Oh, I see. You're German? Sherlock, was it? No. I have no hair. I mean, I have hair. Please, call me Sholmes. You can read all about my exploits in this exciting London publication. Oh yes, Rand's magazine, full of wonderful short stories and interest articles
from Great Britain. I never miss an issue. I have it sent from England especially. Ah, yes, here it is. The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. So, you're the protagonist in a series of short stories, then? Indeed I am. And you've read so many of your own stories, you've started to think you really are a detective? Make no mistake, I am not the poor deluded fellow you take me for. Your inference is backward. Backward. My trusty biographer records my greatest detecting achievements and chronicles them in the magazine. You have a biographer? Do you? Doesn't everyone? Mine goes by the name of Dr. Wilson, presently keeping shop in London. Dr. Wilson. I must say, thanks to that publications, I've been fantastically busy of late. Why, this very moment I am returning from Asia, having solved the mystery of a cursed royal crown. Really? I can't work out whether I should take this man seriously or not. Deduction, you see, is to me a science. Logical reasoning in its purest form. A science? Really? The astute observer notices even the most subtle of reactions in his subject. A furtive glance, a twitch of a muscle, a slight inclination of the posture, fingernails, arm sleeves, furrows in the skin, all these things are data. Right. And the trained logician makes deductions from this data in the blink of an eye. The ultimate conclusion is, without fail, the truth. As I demonstrated only a few short moments ago. How can he look me in the eye and claim that? So you see, I have a turn both for observation and for deduction and fame. That is what makes me the one and only Sherlock Holmes. Right. Okay. Have you managed to deduce anything about this particular case yet? Have I managed to deduce anything? My dear fellow. Who do you suppose discovered the culprit in his most cunning hiding place? That's right. It was none other than the great detective before you now, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. Ah, I see. In other words, I'm in these now because of him. Great. When I became anxious about Kazuma-sama this morning, I summoned all of the crew members to force the cabin door open. And I concealed myself among their number, gaining entry to the scene of the crime. Yes, luckily for everyone, the great detective Sherlock Holmes was on board. And the handcuffs seem to be an excellent fit, Mr. Naruhodo. Arg. The very moment I laid eyes on the scene, two facts were immediately apparent to me. Oh, really? Two facts, you say? Mr. Holmes, tell us, please, what two facts were apparent to you when you came to this cabin this morning? Ah, yes, but first, let us be precise. The two facts in question were immediately apparent to me. Yes, I understand, but what were they? Allow me to elucidate. The two facts that I deduced from a mere momentary glance at the scene of the crime were as follows. Number one, the cabin was locked from within, rendering escape of the culprit out of the question. Number two, the victim was Russian and killed following a dispute with an acquaintance. Wrong and wrong, okay? Great. Hold on, Mr. Holmes. What made you think the victim was Russian? Observe the dying message left by the victim on the floor. Repopop. That is the Russian word for wardrobe. Do you really think Kazuma-sama could have left a dying message in Russian? In their final moments, many find their native tongue filling for their head. For this young man, Russian. Kazuma was Russian, was he? Initially, I considered Godjob may be the name of a killer. A certain robot god, perhaps? What? But in the interest of thoroughness, I decided it would be wrong not to look inside the wardrobe there at least. Where you find Mr. Naruhodo sleeping soundly. Quite so! I found you, the renowned Russian revolutionary killer. Why is it that I am Russian too? I observed that you were wearing the same attire as the victim. In other words, you were acquainted. And if my memory serves, that outfit is the traditional dress of the Russian people. Oh, school uniforms are the traditional dress of the Russian people? I had no idea. And I had no idea a detective could get something so wrong. I took a photograph of the victim and the message, that I might analyze it for possible hidden details. Oh, yeah? Oh. This was taken immediately after the young man was discovered, before the body was removed. Yeah, Kazuma had already been taken away when I woke up. This is the first time I've actually seen him like this. Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, yes, thank you. Can I ask you something, Mr. Sholmes? What, pray? You mentioned Russia before as well, didn't you? You know, when you said I was a fearsome revolutionary fleeing from Russia and all that? Ah yes, the train of reasoning that led me to the truth. Would you mind explaining that train of reasoning to me, do you think? Kohyoho! Certainly, if it interests you. How many times? I'm not Russian, and I don't speak Russian. Can we talk about your deduction before? The things you concluded about me, I mean? Ah, the now famously accurate, troubling predicament you find yourself in? Actually, it was the other details that I was more hoping to discuss. You know, the merciless Russian revolutionary and assassin of 16 part? Ah yes, the more sordid details. It was a fairly commonplace deduction. Here we have this morning's paper. The main headline reads, Revolutionary Valen Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. This vessel made a port call at Shanghai yesterday, and last night the young Russian was murdered. Since when was Kazuma Russian? It sounds like Mr. Sholmes has concluded he was Russian because of what Kazuma-sama wrote on the floor. It was a simple act of reasoning to realize that the culprit of this crime was the same merciless revolutionary. One who would kill the very man who helped him to escape after his true identity was discovered. Yes, you, violent Bolshevik. No. How could it be me? I don't look anything like this man. Just look at his face. Well, you are a fearsome revolutionary after all. Therefore, you have no doubt learned to revolutionize your appearance as well. Please. And I might add, your name does not appear on the ship's passenger list. Need I say more? Well, that's because I'm a stowaway. What about the other details? The 16 victims of assassination and blowing up the Crystal Tower?
Ah yes, the journalist clearly interviewed the man and printed all those particulars in the article. The deeds the man has perpetrated thus far and those he is plotting. Yes, everything about this revolutionary Bolshevik was included. There can be no mistake.
Do revolutionaries usually agree to interviews with newspaper reporters, I wonder?
And what about the part where you said I was just returning from Afghanistan? Also quite clearly stated here in the article. Bolshevik has recently returned from after a period of subversive activities in war-torn region of Afghanistan.
Where even is it anyway? This Afghanistan place.
Here, take the paper for yourself, as a little memento of this great deduction.
Oh, thanks.
I have absorbed all that is of interest to me within its pages, but I see no rubbish bin nearby.
Oh, right.
And you may find the article on the back page of interest as well. On the back. Cast your eye over it sometime if the interest takes you, though you may need someone to interpret. It's all written in Russian. I couldn't hope to read it. But I suppose it wouldn't hurt just to glance at the article. Maybe there might be a picture or two.
Sure, let's look at it.
Okay.
I'm afraid I can't read a word of Russian.
No, me neither. I have no idea what any of this says. That pair of you floundering is a sorry sight. Allow me to offer some assistance. The article on the front page of this newspaper is concerned with a fearsome Russian revolutionary. It reads, Revolutionary violent Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. Yes, you told us that before. It reveals also that those who see the man's beard with their own eyes never live to tell the tale.
Oh my goodness, he is fearsome.
Well, presumably the newspaper photographer was alright, wasn't he? The solution is obvious, of course. If he despises his beard to that degree, he need only shave it off.
I'm not quite sure that's the problem, Mr. Sholmes.
Right, okay. What's this? Picture. Normal things, okay.
Who's that?
This is interesting.
Have you found something relevant, Naruhodo-san?
Well, no, I mean, it looks it might be interesting.
I can't read a single word, I'm afraid.
No, nor can I. But look at this picture.
Perhaps it's about a beautiful young Russian princess, do you think? She is very pretty, isn't she? I suppose you enjoy articles like this, do you?
I don't know. I can't make any sense of it. Ah, I'm glad you've noticed this article.
Oh!
Allow me to give you a short summary of its contents. Oh, thank you. He pops up everywhere, this Mr. Sholmes. It's about the disappearance of a young lady last night. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. During a performance in Shanghai, the famous dancer was reported missing. She is, of course, the talented young Nikolina Pavlova. Why are Russian names so hard to remember? It appeared the woman was in costume when she was found to be missing from her dressing room, wearing that diamond tiara you see pictured, which is worth some 20,000 rubles.
Oh, how much is 20,000 rubles? I have no idea, but I'm quite sure it must be an unbelievable sum of money.
Susara-san's eyes are shining like diamonds themselves.
The tiara is the property of the Novovich Ballet. It would seem the director is beside herself with worry. Yes, I'm not surprised. The company is most anxious to recover both Miss Pavlova and the valuable tiara. They requested international assistance at all ports with sailings to Great Britain. Could this be another case of Russian fleeing his or her country? It does seem to be the Russian thing to do. I am not even going to dignify that with a response, Mr. Naruhodo. Yeah, okay. So we got a missing revolutionary and a missing ballet dancer. Both were in Shanghai. Both are Russian. Okay. Great. There you go. Mr. Sholmes, what do you make of this? Shh! Quiet! When I am ruminating in the course of my deductions, nothing must disturb my mind. Oh, sorry. Ah, an Indian curry, perhaps? What's he ruminating about? The lunch menu? Alright, what about this? I have never seen anything like this. Most extraordinary writing. You said the same earlier this morning, I think. Indeed, but its uncommonness is so remarkable, I felt the need to say it anew. Yes, I do believe these characters may be a crude attempt at a Japanese script. What? Mr. Naruhodo, I don't like to be the one to tell you this, but I think Mr. Sholmes is trying to say that your handwriting is a little untidy. Is he making fun of me? You having a laugh, mate? You having a laugh? Ah, the photograph I took earlier this morning. Yes, you may keep it. I still find it amazing that I can see something that happened so recently with my own eyes like this. What an incredible invention. And a convenient one, don't you think? I never travel without my trusty device. I'm the most incurably impetuous devil, you see. I simply couldn't resist throwing it together. You threw it together? And I intend to throw together a new and improved module that will capture color. It's my personal monthly goal to see the invention finished before the 31st. That would be useful. Then you could see that the ink Kazuma used was purple. But no, he couldn't have left that message. Not in Russian. Alright. Mr. Sholmes, what do you make of this? Okay, just to make sure. Okay. Alright, we're done with that. Back to the conversation. Let me just take a sip, if you excuse me. Alright. Before we started talking, you were examining Kazuma's desk, weren't you? Kazuma? Ah, yes, the victim. Did you notice anything useful? Anything at all? Observe for a moment the desktop of the victim. We see that the victim was engaged in penning some text. London Diary. Kazuma was keeping notes of the trip. Ah, but I don't think you should read his private writings. It could upset some people. Tragic! And something you ought to perhaps elucidate before the act of reading. You mean you've read it already? It is my business to know what other people do not. Yes, believe it or not, I know a smattering of Japanese. Oh, I see. Well, you're about to know what a Susato takedown is. Susaru-san? Aren't you gonna throw the detective with one of your trademark takedowns? I am sorry, Naruhodo-san. What on earth do you mean? Life is so unfair. Anyway, to return to the matter at hand, namely, this diary belonging to the victim, it would appear the final sentence is incomplete, as if the author were cut short. Tell me, what is the nature of the writing? Pray be precise as to the details. Oh, but I thought you knew Japanese. A smattering, dear boy, a smattering. Sayonara, Banzai, Milkado, Nandonado. I trust you're suitably impressed. But this diary is littered with complicated-looking characters, of which I can read precisely none. So what was all that showing off for then? If you would be so kind as to show me, I would be happy to read it to you, Mr. Sholmes. I'm much obliged, my dear madam. The final entry here in Kazuma-sama's diary consists of just 2 short sentences. The first reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear faint whistling sound. A whistling sound? These are very deep waters. Pray, go on. The second sentence reads, 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? What on earth does that mean? I have no idea. I've never heard that expression before. The ventilator grill, you say? The man was presumably referring to the lattice there on the wall, which connects to the adjoining cabin. Yeah, the adjoining cabin. Interesting. So, I believe I've given you enough to consider for the time being, at least. Do you have somewhere to go? As it happens, the victim's writings in his diary have piqued my interest. The matter warrants further investigation, I believe, and if I'm still too long, the seasickness takes hold. Oh, I suppose you're thinking of investigating the cabin next door, which the ventilator connects to? Great detectives are a curious breed. Our minds rebel at stagnation. We crave mental exaltation. So yes, I intend to investigate. Hence, the truth will become clear soon enough. Do you think perhaps that we could go with you? No, that would be somewhat complicated. What? Why? A simple glance at your wrists should reveal the answer. Oh, these. After all, you're the prime suspect in this matter, no? There's no point trying to turn it into a question. You're the one who decided I was the culprit in the first place. Whatever do you mean? I have no recollection of naming you as the culprit at any point. You must be joking. You just said it only a moment ago. Dear Mayor, you are clearly misguided. I would have no cause to say such a thing. Well, actually, Mr. Sholmes, I did hear you say that too. You're quite sure? Well, that's very strange. I wouldn't have said you had the face of a criminal, you know. Not really. So what? Were you looking at my knees before? Some great detective you are. Well, anyway, that was then, and this is now. What do you mean? What I mean, sir, is this. If you are the culprit, then you must play the part more convincingly. Roll over and accept your fate. Now he's just being plain rude. And off he goes, having just laughed in my face. His sense of humor is as twisted as his name. Naruhodo-san, what are you just standing there for? We must go and investigate the cabin next door as well. Aren't you forgetting something? What about these? There's no way I can... Hey-ya! Ugh! After Kazuma-sama spent his dying moments struggling to leave us a clue, you are willing to give up? You are just going to roll over and accept your fate? As if you gave me any choice in the rolling over part. I think we still have some investigation to finish off in here first, don't we? Let's carry on examining what we can in this cabin while we wait for a chance to slip next door. Good idea! The situation doesn't look good for me, but there are still things I can do to help myself. And I owe it to Kazuma to do everything I can to find a way out of this, and bring the real culprit to justice. Is something wrong, Naruhodo-san? Oh, no, it's just that crewman standing by the door. I can't help feeling like I've seen him somewhere before. Oh yes, you're right. He does look familiar. Excuse me, sir.
Yes? What can I do for you?
I recognize that face, but it can't be. It is! I didn't know you were here, Inspector Hazunaga.
Hello again.
What are you doing here?
I think that should be my line. I was so stunned when I saw you, my heart stopped.
Nearly stopped, I hope.
I received some special orders to go undercover as a member of the crew and board this ship.
Again? You certainly seem to enjoy undercover work, Inspector.
Hey, if there's anything I can do to help you, please ask.
I never expected to see this man on board, but perhaps his presence can help me out of this hopeless situation. I can't believe it. Here you go, look at this. Inspector, can I show you this?
What the? Is that a fabled Imperial Yuma University pin badge?
I'm not sure if it's really fabled exactly, but...
So, you're a genuine student then?
Sorry?
Nothing like me with my regular schooling. You're something much greater. Is that what you're trying to say?
Can I have my badge back, please? Thank you. So, Inspector. So what are your special orders this time, Inspector? Yes, and why are you dressed as a member of the crew? Hi.
I am so sorry. This is all my fault. I take full responsibility.
For what?
My orders were to act as Asugi-san's bodyguard. It was Minister of Justice Jigoko who pushed for this overseas study tour to go ahead. And he entrusted me with ensuring that Azuki-san reached Great Britain without being assassinated.
Assassinated? How could that even have been a possibility?
I am not so sure. But these are complicated times. There are tensions between the world's greatest powers. Minister Chikoko said we should be prepared for all eventualities.
This is incredible. I don't believe it. Kazuma-san was assassinated?
Obviously, we couldn't give Azuki-san a visible security escort. Which is why I'm undercover now, posing as one of the crew.
I see.
And I didn't take my eyes off him the entire time we've been on board. From morning until night. Every day. But I never imagined it would happen here. Inside his own cabin. Not here. Not here on the first class deck. Fuck. I have failed miserably at my assignment, and Azuki-san is dead as a result. I am a disgrace. All I can do is humbly apologize.
Inspector.
So if there's anything at all I can do to help now, just say the word.
Well, there is one thing. We're doing what we can to investigate Kazuma's death ourselves.
I thought you might be. You didn't do it, did you? You're not the killer.
Of course not. We'd really like to investigate the cabin next door. Yes, so we need to be allowed out of this cabin.
I'm sorry.
What?
You've been deemed a risk to the ship's safety. If you move to even touch the handle of the cabin door, that stormy-looking seaman there would surely snap your neck in two.
I suppose I'm not just a stowaway now. They think I'm a murderer as well.
Would it be possible to give me something to work with, do you think? I'm going to need something persuasive.
What do you mean?
If I had a solid reason why the next door cabin should be investigated, for example, I'd do everything I could to persuade the captain to allow it. Really, I'd lay my life on the line if I had to.
But I don't see how... There may be a way. What? Really? Think of how you tried to persuade me of your innocence, Naruhodo-san. By presenting me with a piece of evidence that you already had in your possession. Evidence? It's just the same as when you are in court. You must have done it many times during your trial. Simply select the present panel and choose some evidence that Inspector Hazunaga could use. So, evidence that would give us a viable reason to investigate the next door cabin, is it? Alright, yes. I think I might know what we can use. Let's see if I can present the detective with the evidence he needs to persuade the captain. Alright, Inspector. Oh, she just told me how to do it and I forgot. There you go.
What's that?
It's Kazuma's diary. Just before he died, Kazuma-sama wrote something rather strange in his diary.
Strange? In what way?
He wrote what looks like some kind of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill.
A speckled band? That is strange.
Yes, we're still trying to work out what he meant by that. But what I'd like to know is...
Don't tell me. The ventilator, is it?
You are very astute, Inspector. That event...
That ventilator clearly joins to the next door cabin.
That's right. So if you could investigate in there, we might be able to work out what the Speckled band was.
Alright then. I can't leave this cabin at the moment. I am stuck here until we arrive at the next port. The captain has given me strict orders to guard the scene of the crime, you see. I'll have to entrust the investigation to you.
Really? You're willing to do that?
Yes, as long as you don't leave the first-class cabin area, I am afraid I can't remove those handcuffs, though.
But what about the captain? Aren't you going against his orders?
I am a man of my word. And I promise you that I'll lay my life on the line if that's what it takes to convince the captain. After all, I failed to keep Asoge-san safe. This is the least I can do.
Thank you. Let's seize the moment then, Naruhodo-san. Just select move and we can leave this cabin at last. Move. Alright, let's move. Let's move to the next area and see what we can find.